Throughout history, kings ruled Egypt, strong men with crowns, war chariots, and stone monuments. But what if I told you that one of the greatest pharaohs wasn't a man at all? Her name was Hatshepsut. She ruled Egypt for over 20 years, not as a queen, but as a pharaoh. Welcome to Interesting Tidbits. Today, we're telling the story of the woman who became king. Hatshepsut was born around 1507 BCE, daughter of Pharaoh Thutmose I. She was royalty through and through, groomed for power, trained in religion, politics, and ceremony. As a teenager, she married her half-brother, Thutmose II, and became queen, but fate had other plans. Her husband died young, his son by another wife. Thutmose III was just a baby, so Hatshepsut stepped up. First as a regent, then within a few years as pharaoh, and that changed everything. She didn't take the title lightly. She claimed it completely. She wore the crown. She took on a new name, Mutkere. And yes, she wore the ceremonial false beard. Her statues showed her as a man. Broad shoulders, pharaoh's kilt, kingly posture. But people knew she was a woman. It wasn't a disguise, it was a strategy. Because Hatshepsut wasn't trying to look like a king, she was proving she was one. And to do that, she'd need more than power, she'd need legitimacy. So how do you rule as a woman in a man's world? You make the gods your allies. Hatshepsut declared that her father, Thutmose I, wanted her to be pharaoh. And even better, she said the god Amun himself had chosen her to rule. She even carved this origin story in stone. Amun appears to her mother, conceives Hatshepsut, and proclaims she shall wear the crown of Egypt. Some saw it as divine truth, others divine propaganda. Either way, it worked. But legitimizing herself wasn't just a one-time proclamation, it was a constant performance of power, of piety, and of tradition. She commissioned grand monuments to the gods, she restored temples neglected for decades. She offered gifts, festivals, and divine rituals. Hatshepsut wasn't just building an image, she was building a theology around her rule. And she didn't do it alone. Hatshepsut surrounded herself with loyal advisors, most famously Senenmut, an architect, tutor to her daughter, and perhaps more. He rose from common birth to the heart of Egyptian power. Under his guidance, the empire saw some of its most ambitious construction projects. Her administration ran efficiently, favoring talent over birthright. That's part of what made her reign so stable. No civil wars, no palace coups, just 2 decades of relative peace and prosperity. One of Hatshepsut's proudest achievements was her expedition to the land of Punt. Egyptian ships sailed far down the Red Sea. They returned with gold, incense, ivory, exotic animals, even living myrrh trees. She had the trees planted at her mortuary temple. It was trade diplomacy at its finest. These voyages weren't just about wealth, they were about optics, about showing the world and her people that Egypt was powerful, connected, and flourishing under her rule, her crowning masterpiece, Deir el-Bahari. Built into the cliffs of Thebes, it stands as one of the greatest architectural feats in Egyptian history. 3 terraces, giant colonnades, intricate reliefs telling her story. Her divine birth, her expedition to Punt, her offerings to the gods. She used architecture to cement her rule in stone, and in Karnak, she raised towering obelisks. One still stands today, over 90 feet tall. Each monument declared her legacy, that she was king. Chosen by the gods, beloved by the people, but history has a chisel. Years after her death, someone tried to erase her. Her name was scratched off temple walls, her statues defaced, her cartouches removed. For a long time, scholars blamed Thutmose III. Revenge from a stepson, they thought, but modern evidence tells a more nuanced story. The erasure came late in his reign, or even under his son. It wasn't personal, it was political. A female pharaoh disrupted the line of kings. Erasing her helped make the dynastic story cleaner. But it didn't last. In the 19th and 20th centuries, archaeologists rediscovered her story. Temples, statues, inscriptions. In 2007, a breakthrough scientists matched a tooth in a wooden box to an anonymous mummy found in KV60. It was her Hatshepsut. She had diabetes, possibly cancer. She likely died in her 50s. No signs of foul play, just a remarkable woman, lost to time and found again. Today, her story is no longer hidden. Hatshepsut ruled for over 2 decades in an age where women were expected to disappear into the background. She didn't. She led Egypt into peace. She expanded its wealth. She redefined what a king could be. She was erased, but now she's remembered. This was the story of Egypt's forgotten king, the woman who wore the beard and took the throne. This was the story of Hatshepsut. Thanks for watching Interesting Tidbits. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay curious. Hey.